Chapter 2 The Veddah Game. The whole village was agog next day because no one had been able to recognize the boys who had broken into the watchman's house. It must have been a gang of boys from another village, some people said. But the watchman's mother said that two of them looked like Upali and Dangadasa. Said one woman, "Upali Ginivella? That's my name." Nobody said anything about Jinnah. Our parents didn't punish us because they didn't know for sure whether we were the boys. It was a good thing that they did not think of looking at the black handkerchief around my waist. "How did you tear that sarong?" my stepmother asked Jinnah. "Oh, it got caught in the fence," he said. She didn't believe him, of course, but there was nothing to connect him with the gang. But our parents began to keep an eye on us. My stepmother was watching me all the time. For nearly a week, we played nothing but Kalli, Pandu, and Katti. About 2 weeks passed, people forgot about the housebreaking. The watchman no longer threatened us. His mother stopped scolding us whenever she saw us. We began to play in the woods again. Sometimes we hid in the bushes by the path through the woods and shot at passing villagers with our catapults. Now and then we managed to hit someone on the ankle. "Ooh!" he'd cry, rubbing his ankle and fleeing into the bushes. But no one spotted us. They went on their way, abusing all boys in general. If they had caught sight of us, they would have complained to our parents at once. One Sunday evening, we were playing in the woods when someone suggested playing Veddahs. We rolled up our sarongs and tied them up like loincloths. We strung burulla leaves together and wrapped them round our waists and made ourselves headgear of cos leaf. I even had a big sarong. I even had a big strong bow with arrow of pointed bamboo. The others had smaller bows and their arrows were merry iratu. I slung the bow over my left shoulder and the others followed suit. We started out, peering into the undergrowth, a band of Veddahs on the alert for beast or foe. We soon came to the further part of the wood, near the spring well to which everyone came for water. 3 girls were at the well, chatting and laughing, and we crouched in the thickets watching them. One of the girls pushed another and burst out laughing. The third caught her round the waist and kissed her in the face. Then the first girl looked around cautiously and began to dance while her friends laughed and clapped their hands. "If anyone sees us, we'll be hunted out of the village," said the girl who was dancing. "Look, this is how the Opisara Hamine walks." One of them imitated the wife of the village headman. "Ah, but that's nothing. You should see how Subehami Mudalali's wife struts along," said another. She was talking about my stepmother. The other two egged her on to imitate my stepmother's walk. Inda, the silly old coquette. We couldn't help laughing quietly to ourselves. One of the girls went to the stone slab beside the well. She tied a rope round the neck of the pot and lowered it in. I know that they would go back to the village as soon as they had filled their pots. Look, the ducks are drinking from the pond, I said, unslinging my bow. Shall we shoot? Said Ranadeva. I took aim at one of the girls and let fly. Apoi amme! She cried out and slipped down to the ground, holding onto the side of the well. My friends shot 4 more arrows. 2 fell into the water, 2 hit a girl and fell onto the slab. We got one! We shouted and rushed out of our thicket. 2 of the girls ran away with their pots. The injured girl held her bleeding leg and mourned. We lifted her and carried her into the thickets. She began to shriek, but on one seemed to hear. Shut up, you! I threatened her. We are Veddahs. Please, I only mimicked your stepmother for a joke, she pleaded. She was quite frightened and began to cry. You made a mistake, I said. We were after deer, but we shot a woman. We mistook these girls for ducks. What shall we do now? Asked Ranadeva. Well, have to get something for the wound, and if she can't walk, we'll have to carry her back. Ducks? You shot at ducks? She looked around. I can walk really. Please don't carry me again. Come on, I called to the others. I tore a strip of Jinna's sarong. Ranadeva bent down to move her cloth away from the wound. Apoi! She screamed and knocked his hand away. She crouched away from us, holding down her cloth. Shut up, you! I threatened her with the bow. Ranadeva and Siripala got hold of her hands while Dangadasa held her down by her hips. She struggled and then began to giggle as if we were tickling her. I knelt and lifted the corner of her cloth and cleaned the bleeding wound near her knee. We crushed some leaves into a pad and put it on the wound. We bandaged her leg with the strip of cloth. She seemed to be enjoying the game now. She can't walk yet, I said to the other Veddahs. We'll have to carry her. Apoi, please don't. People might see. I can walk now, she said. Quiet, I said fiercely. What do we care about people? We are Veddahs. Despite our struggles, we carried her through the woods and put her down near the well. She lifted the pot to her hip and walked away quickly, but she kept looking back to smile at us. Soon all sorts of tales about our hunting expedition were rife in the village. Upali Ginivella and 4 other scamps hid in the trees near the pond. They carried off Lamahevage Nadori's youngest daughter into the jungle. Incredible! The smell of mother's milk is still on their lips, and they do a thing like that? Some grown up must have been behind it. It could only be that Hinni Mahathaya. Hinni Mahathaya was the youngest son of the village headman. He was supposed to be the village rake. How disgusting to make use of children for such things. Lalita swore that there hadn't been anybody but us. The children had only been playing Veddas. She had fallen only because she had been hit by an arrow. It hadn't hurt much, but she shock had made her scream and lost her balance. She told them how we had carried her off screaming into the jungle only to put some herbs on her wound and carry her back. How is it that no one heard your scream? Asked one of the villagers. I screamed twice, but then Upali Punchi Mahathaya threatened me. Oh, threaten you? Snorted the village. And you let a child like that frighten you? Are you such a baby? All right. What were you doing all the time they were attending to your wound in the jungle? Why didn't you scream then? You enjoyed it, didn't you? Didn't you say so yourself to the other girls? Because I realized it was only a game. This only made the woman scold her more. We shouldn't blame those poor children. It's all her own fault. Why did she have to fall? It was only a thin silver of bamboo, after all. Would a big girl like that faint so easily? The whole thing must be a put-up job. She must have been in it from the first. We should punish her, not the children. Imagine what it will be like when their shoulders reach the height their heads are now. It won't be safe for a girl to step out of the house. But Lalita had the worst of it. She had to give up going to the spring well, and for nearly 6 months. She bathed at a desolate well on the other side of the village. Father beat me mercilessly and locked me up for 3 days with one leg clamped into a pillory. This was how boys who did not regard a beating seriously were punished in those days. But this didn't make me sorry for what I had done at all. My love of adventure only increased. A month later, the schoolmaster came to see father and told him that I was cutting school. What? Upali leaves every morning and he comes home at the time you close school. Last month, of course, he could not go to school for a week because I had punished him for his scandalous behavior. Then he must be playing truant all day and getting home at just the right time. I'll pack you off to Maggona. Father threatened me after the schoolmaster had gone. I didn't know when the Maggona was a reformatory. I didn't understand why father wouldn't let me play outdoors all day. I hated books and I was tired of sitting on a bench with a book in front of me. I wanted to go rowing on the river. I loved violent exercise. I thought of running away with Jinnah, but he wouldn't agree. I wished I could join the men who went digging for gems in the Ratnapura jungles. I know that boys went with them to help in the work. I remembered the stories I had heard of desperados who went with exorcists into the vast forest near Anuradhapura in search of hidden treasure. There were stories about dynamiting rocks, some smashing statues and killing giant cobras who were the guardians of fabulous treasure troves. If I could join a band of treasure hunters, I dreamed of escaping. I felt sure I could outdo Aladdin if only I could get away. Father spent all day in his shop and got back late every evening. My stepmother spent her time bathing, feeding, and cuddling her baby or seeing to things about the house. She didn't forget to scold me and tell me to be a good boy. The biggest thing in the lives of the women was the daily gossip at the well. The young men went to the well to make fun of the girls or to flirt with them. On full moon days, everybody went to the temple and sat on the floor to listen to a sermon. It was all so dull, no better than going to school. Father must have decided that I would become a real bad character if I were to stay in the village any longer. He took me to Valikanda and left me with the headmaster of the school there. Perhaps my stepmother was in it too. I was becoming a nuisance and menace to her, and she might have thought of getting rid of me for a while. One Sunday afternoon, Father and I took the bus to Valikanda. Mr. Dharmasinghe Andagala, the head teacher, seemed to be a great friend of my father. He welcomed us enthusiastically. He said he was happy to be of some service to father, that he hadn't forgotten how father had helped him when he was at the Kamburugamu school. No one could even guess from my looks the sort of mischief I was capable of. The headmaster took to me and began to say nice things about me. "He's terrible scamp," said my father. "I must be our village. There's something the matter there. The children have been behaving very badly. Every child is a bit of a scamp after all. There are times when my own children seem to be getting out of hand, but I don't let them go too far. I'm sure the boy will try not to get into mischief here. He will have no opportunity of making bad friends here." Mr. Dharmasinghe spoke as if he was teaching a class, gesturing with the raised forefinger. He looked overworked and prematurely old. His black hair was graying already. Because of this, or because he was so anemic, he seemed pale, although he had coal black face, which made the whites of his eyes look strangely brilliant. His teeth, too, seemed milk white, no doubt for the same reason. He ended every sentence with understand, even when he was talking to father. Mr. Dharmasinghe's two children were peeping at me through the doorway. One was a boy of about 8. The other, a girl, looked about 6 years old. I liked them, but not the schoolmaster and his wife. I wondered if Mr. Dharmasinghe and his wife were thinking all the time about something they had lost, something precious, like a child. The headmaster smiled a bit when welcoming us, but his face soon looked on a weary and cheerless look. His wife did not seem to know how to smile or laugh, or else she thought it sniffled to smile. Perhaps that was why she glared at the children when they smiled at me. "You must try to be a good boy," said my father when it was time for him to go. "Don't make mischief." I went to school the next day with Mr. Dharmasinghe. He put me in his own class. Only 3 of the boys there were bigger than I. One of them threw a paper ball at the back of my head. "A real gallippa," I heard a boy say. "A tough nut," said another. Silence, threatened the headmaster, striking his desk with his cane. If you like listening chapter 3, we meet again next video. You can subscribe, comment, like and share. Thank you.